Hi, this is IB Bytes, a series of insights into language and literature analysis, not just for my IB students, but for my AP, A-Level, and IGCSE students too. Today's text is a magazine article, specifically a reflective travelogue titled Long Enough in Joburg by Zenga Longmore. It's published in the Spectator, a UK political magazine. The writer's purpose is to shed light on the system of injustices in apartheid-era South Africa, and she accomplishes that task through contrast. The guiding question is, how does the use of contrast convey the writer's purpose? Contrast is a feature which means it incorporates various devices. These include juxtaposition, antithesis, paradox, oxymoron, irony, and dichotomy. We'll explore examples of each, examining their characteristics, function, and effect. Let's begin with juxtaposition. This places two contrasting ideas side by side. Here, the large bungalows are juxtaposed with the dinky little shops to highlight the incongruity between suburban wealth and the economic struggles of marginalized communities in South Africa. In the next example, the worn-looking women burdened with shopping symbolizes exhaustion and exploitation. It juxtaposes with the sulky white babies slumped in their backs, representing the beneficiaries of this unequal system and emphasizing the exploitation of labor in a system that privileges one group over another. In this example, suburban luxury is contrasted with the struggles of South Africans to vividly portray the glaring disparities between privileged and oppressed groups, compelling readers to recognize the deep social and economic chasm created by apartheid. In this example, let's go one further. All right, in the final example, juxtaposition is also evident in the description of the gleaming train station for privileges of a certain South African group. This is juxtaposed with the small dark room for everyone else, illustrating that comfort and privilege is afforded to certain individuals under apartheid, underscoring the systemic inequality. Before we continue, please do comment, like, and share this video as it helps get the message out there to people like you who might benefit from this information. All right, let's move on to antithesis. Like juxtaposition, it presents two contrasting ideas side by side, but it does it through a balanced structure. The antithesis, few whites walked the streets, no Africans drove the cars, is syntactically balanced. The first clause implies privilege and choice, and the second clause enforces exclusion and restriction, emphasizing how apartheid restricts people's access to spaces and resources. In the second example, the balanced structure, Fabian can walk in that station, indicating freedom, but his sister can't, denoting restriction, serves as an antithesis that exposes the absurdity and cruelty of apartheid laws, which enforce racial divisions even within families, undermining natural human bonds. Paradox. Paradox, like juxtaposition and antithesis, presents two contrasting ideas side by side, but it does that through contradiction. In other words, paradox is when opposites occur at the same time. They coexist. In this example, the sign appears civil, even polite, but enforces hostility and exclusion. This paradox highlights the insidious nature of apartheid, which used carefully crafted language to normalize discrimination. In this example of paradox, the small dark room, although filled with people, in fact, it's jam-packed, it's marked by an eerie silence, symbolizing the suppression of voice under apartheid, where the presence of many individuals is compared with their enforced silence. This highlights the paradox of the majority as voiceless. Here, paradox is conveyed through contrasting the glittering facade of Johannesburg with the grim reality of oppressive spaces. Here, Longmore's use of paradox exposes the hypocrisy of society that flaunts wealth and modernity while perpetuating systemic injustice. An oxymoron presents two contrasting ideas side by side, but it's visible. Here, the oxymoron, coldly polite, pairs civility with detachment to reveal how apartheid masks its cruelty behind a facade of civility. In this example, the oxymoron, ominous silence, contrasts the expectation of calm or peace and the underlying threat or oppression, capturing the suppression of voices by systemic injustice. This highlights the dehumanization and stifling nature of apartheid. Irony. Like the other forms of contrast, irony presents contrasting ideas side by side, but as the opposite of what's expected. For example, the speaker's attempt to charm the officer backfires. Her use of a toothy smile and her best English accent is met with suspicion from the officer, undermining her efforts. This irony stresses the powerlessness of individual agency against institutionalized racism. Dichotomy. Like the other devices of contrast, dichotomy presents contrasting ideas side by side, but it emphasizes their polarity. For example, the dichotomies black and white, rich, poor, free, oppressed, urban, rural, demonstrate how divisions are deliberately designed to create separation and maintain unfair power structures. Here's a quick review of the devices of contrast. Juxtaposition highlights opposites. Antithesis highlights opposites through a balanced syntactic structure. Paradox highlights opposites through contradiction. Oxymoron highlights opposites visually side by side. Irony highlights opposition through subverting expectations. And dichotomy highlights opposition through polarity. The full analysis of this paper is free, and it can be found under the blog section of my website, along with many other free resources. Thank you for watching, and happy analyzing. See you next time.